Okay, hello everyone. We're at uh, at time to start now, so I appreciate all of you that have joined the call today. Really excited to talk to you about this topic. My name is Greg Reynolds. I am head of markets for MHP Americas, and today we're going to be talking about the MHP truck story, which is going to be a discussion about sustainable business optimizations through strategic realignment of product and development. So there's a lot of different, I think, benefits and challenges that we'll talk about that may be relevant for you. And of course, really encourage you, if you have any questions, you can enter them into the chat, or we will leave time at the end to go through any questions you have, and of course we'll be able to follow up with you directly. So if we go through the quick introductions on the next slide. We have two people presenting today, two of our experts, one joining us here from the US and also from our headquarters in Germany. So we have Paul Prell, which he is leading our R&D transformation for North America. And he brings a lot of experience on different topics, but one of his specialties is helping with product complexity, and he'll talk more about that as well. And then we have Michael Korsander as well, and he's associate partner and head of digital engineering and solutions as part of our R&D transformation globally. So he he is an automotive and aerospace engineer and specializes in product lifecycle management. And these will be the two experts that will be sharing the story today. So Paul, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the introduction, and also thank you everyone for joining today from all over the world. I see more people joining during the last couple of minutes, so I really appreciate you having here on that webinar. But to start this presentation, we thought about a couple of possible entry points here, but from my perspective, there's one that is the most important, and that is the question, what is a digital transformation? Because everybody has been talking about digital transformation for the past couple of years, and everyone has a different understanding of it. And we wanted to make sure that all of us have the same idea of it for the next couple of 20 minutes. So what is a digital transformation? A digital transformation is the use of new, fast, and rapidly changing digital technologies to solve problems. And it's about transforming organizations, processes, and methods to a digital future way of working. But what does that mean? We will share with you a real-life example of a digital transformation to break down this buzzword based on an understandable journey and showcase the benefits of it. But why is the digital transformation relevant for the truck industry? During a pandemic and in an uncertain world as it is right now, it's even more important to be able to act, innovate, and use the potential of the market in your own company. And based on a McKinsey study, it was before COVID, the truck industry faces an immense challenge due to market developments such as price pressure, legal regulations, emission controls, or cybersecurity. But at the same time, the same industry has a huge chance of over $2.9 billion growth just by being excellent in their operations. From a product development perspective, this means, for example, having seamless data flows, optimized product data management, complexity management, or of course the right roles and responsibilities in place. In addition to that, new opportunities like electrification, autonomous driving, and platforms and services can add another $2.7 billion, which sums up to a total of $1.9 billion potential in the industry for the next 10 years. But what happens when we are not able to leverage those new opportunities? I mean, for example, electrification, developing new architectures and platforms, high knowledge for new component technologies, or the need for new competencies, for example, due to new software or electronic components, have a huge impact on the profitability. And not doing it right leads to great challenges in the truck industry, which you can see on the right-hand side. And if you just look through them, what we can see here is if we are already struggling in solving today's issues like that, then we are facing an even greater problem developing new technologies like autonomous driving, for example. And that is why we started this digital transformation, the MHP truck story, at this exact point. So we needed to build a foundation now. But what was the actual problem of our client? This was exactly the problem of our client. So he was not ready to master and manage the current market developments, and therefore he was absolutely not ready to leverage the potential of the market and the new opportunities. So specific problems have been, for example, no unified and integrated data platforms, no customer-centric product development, a lack in capability and efficiency of virtual development, lack in efficiency of an efficient reuse of existing knowledge and products, no ability to master and manage high product complexity, or missing collaboration, roles and responsibilities to leverage those new opportunities. That was exactly the basis for the following 6 years where we worked through the MHP truck story. As I said before, we wanted to create the foundation for our client and wanted to make sure that he's able to act, innovate, and leverage the market potential. And based on our joint approach with the client, we started with product data management basics, and we created, for example, a seamless data flow, implemented our product model management that Michael will, of course, present later in more detail, and we built up on this for room or we created room for innovation by, for example, managing product complexity with our simple variance approach, or defining platforms and modularization, as well as claim-driven development, including requirements engineering. And while making sure that we build on the right foundation and leverage the potential we wanted to establish, we saw digital continuity as one of the main factors in that digital transformation. And this multi-phase digital transformation enabled our client now to have a tremendous success in the end. If we look at it, with over $10 million in savings within the product development process per vehicle and 11 new vehicles in 1 year, our client is now ready for the next steps. For example, facing cybersecurity issues or new legal regulations in regards to emissions, autonomous driving, and selling electrical vehicles to their customers that can now rely on the sustainability, quality, and performance of our client products. And Michael will show you now how we have achieved this in more detail. And I would like to thank you and hand over to Michael now.
So, hello from my side. Michael from rainy Germany. I like to show you how we reached those goals. What was our approach together with our target? We have divided our services with the customer in 4 pillars. We have a base foundation, which includes, for example, the requirement engineering, the product model management, and very important, the enterprise architecture management. Next pillar is related to efficiency. We have established a unified data platform. We established a real modularization and the platform definition. We established a real complexity management, which is key for a truck business. And of course, for people and organization, we established new roles and the relevant responsibilities. The third pillar is the integration of all the suppliers, of all down upstream processes. We create a vertical development and validation verification processes, and of course, all those ideas, all those elements are established in a complete new product development process. And the last pillar, continuity, we did this across all the worldwide locations of our customers. We train the new roles worldwide for thousands of employees. And at the end of the day, and this is really important for this story, it's a real digital continuity from the very first beginning, from the first idea over all requirements, over all the elements you have seen there, up to the product. Due to short time frame we have highlighted a few of those elements. The product model management, the complexity management, the new roles and responsibilities. I have some words for you related to process and the methods and how we managed the worldwide rollout. The first exercise to show you related to this very, very complex project. This is the key of everything inside this transformation. It's a new product model management. In the picture on the bottom left, you see a very generic MHP view related to product architecture, which is fed by the requirements, by all the characteristics of a product and the targets. And what is really, really relevant, that the mapping below between requirements and product architecture is not done by Excel. There's no digital wall between. It's done in one system. There's a handover. In this case, it was PTC with their solution Windchill, and each requirement has to be checked by the product architecture guys if this requirement is relevant for the product architecture. And when the product architect decided that this project, that this product is valid, then there's the handover from the product architecture to the engineering guys. And even this is done in one system, and even there's a digital handover from the product architects to the engineers. So just to highlight some of the tasks we have with this new product model management, one very important thing, it's written very easy, but in real, it's one of the most important elements, a clear language for all departments. What we are talking about, what is a product architecture, what is an engineering solution. We have a structured filling of each development results and a concrete planning of all product variants, and there are billions of variants for a truck. All characteristics and requirements are to be implemented in a development project and assigned to a specific product structure element. There's no requirement, there's no characteristics which is flown away, which is separated lonely. Each characteristic and requirement of a product, of a customer need, is directly linked to a specific product structure element. And this impact at the end of the day reduces the costs for structures and the standardization up to 66%, while we are able to summarize elements in variants. So next slide. As I said before, product complexity in truck business is really dramatic. And to start with the solution first, so the blue box on the bottom right, in one truck you have around about 7 billion data points. And that's not bad to have those 7 billion data points. The most exciting thing is to manage them, to be able to analyze them, to view them, to reduce them. And at the end of the day, when you are able to manage this complexity, you are able to reduce unnecessary variants which are not able to sell to your customers, variants which are not able to build, or where the supply chain is not able to deliver. So when you look at the picture on the left, you see a rear axle, a classic rear axle, and just to give you a rough idea how many elements are containing in this rear axle, we have more than 1,200 modules, means assemblies, with more than 157,000 single parts. And the single parts, they have dependencies, they have technical dependencies, more than 200,000. And at the end, in your IT system, your PLM system, you have more than 4.5 million data elements. And this is only the rear axle, this is one rear axle, so you can summarize all elements of a truck, all assemblies of a truck, then you have an idea why 7 billion data points are a usual figure of complexities in a truck business. So the problem we have to solve is a real professional portfolio planning based on this complexity, and to optimize this based on the historical data when we started the project. This data structure to establish is mandatory, as Paul said before. This is as is. There will be in the future much more issues a truck OEM has to cover, and to be able to cover this complexity, we established this, I guess, very, very consequent solution. So click to the next slide, thank you. All the elements we have established here, all the processes, the new product development process, all the new roles, the responsibilities, the process from the requirements to the product structure, to the architects, to the solution area, should be managed in a data management. This data management was, in this case, as I said before, Winchell from PTC, and the main task is to manage all the product information over the whole product lifecycle, not only during the ideation phase, the innovation phase, the engineering phase, even for the complete product lifecycle. This data model-based approach, relevant objects were covered in this system, not a separate one. Everything was in this system. All the roles, all the rights, everything for this lifecycle to create a generic approach for new projects. For this generic approach, we have created several generic catalogs, a generic portfolio catalog, a product structure catalog, and for truck business, very important, an Excel catalog. We have the classical requirement catalog, what kind of SS of historic requirements were mandatory for a truck. We have generic rules for the combinatory and all the characteristics. At the end of the day, these product architecture elements creates a project which was covered in a project container. We call this the solution area, where future projects with all their domains are working to. All the engineers have a clear structure, a clear architecture for the engines, for the axles, for the gearboxes, at the end of the day, for a complete truck and a complete bus project. But don't forget people. The product architect is the core role to orchestrate all the elements we have seen before. He is the one who has to understand what is the order from the top management of our customer. He has to understand all the requirements, all the constraints, and to create, and this is really key for his role, the main output of his work, 100% valid commitment between all parties of a customer project. And we have market guys, we have legal guys, we have the product management, manufacturing, after sales and service, of course, all the engineering departments like body and white, electrics, gears, driving and software. And to create this commitment that the future project is 100% valid, that all requirements are in, that the engineers are able to design this project, and that manufacturing is able to build the new truck. This is key for the architecture role. So he has to develop all needed variants, not billions, could be configured by the customer, but a relevant number of variants should be covered by the complete process. And at the end of the day, to carry all those information to a binding decision that this new project, this new truck should be start to design. And this clear transparency and responsibility in the overall project management reduces the time for project management by more than 25%. Last element for the product architect are his responsibilities. Just to pick out the key, sorry guys, one step back. Thank you. The key responsibility for the architect is the fulfillment of the requirements. Only the 100% fulfillment of requirements gives the order to produce, to design a new product. This is the really key element, this continuity, this digital flow from requirements over the complete product structure. I guess it's new in this role, product architect, which is not so familiar in the classical engineering business, but this role and to create a valid product variants with all relevant concept phases is the main task of the product architect. Next slide now, please. So the product development process, which is the framework. On this framework, every new role, and there are a lot of roles in a product development process, as you could imagine, is the base. When we start the project, we started with to build this new PDP. We have, which is usual, several phases, we have several roles, we have different standards of this PDP for several projects to start with a small assembly like a gearbox or a complete truck. There are frameworks where each task, each competence and responsibility are clearly described in each phase for each several role. So the stakeholders, not really surprising, for all future vehicle and component projects are all departments, not only engineering. These are manufacturing, of course, the sales department. So each one who is a stakeholder in the complete product life cycle. So, but after the technical elements, after the new processes, the new PDM system, definition of new roles, everything has to be rollout to make it happen. But during this rollout, there are several constraints you have to cover. The first one, the product development process has to be established by training. The PLM system has to be customized, that all the specific needs, that the digital continuity already several phases could be done. And when you look at the picture on the bottom left, you see that engineering is only one of the customers of this project. As I said before, there are several departments which use the data from the middle, from the product lifecycle management. We have the quality department, procurement, of course, the finance, production is mandatory, the sales and product management guides, after sales and services. So all these are customer related to the data created in this project, stored and managed in the PLM system, and structured by the product development process. So we decided not to do it in a big bang. This rollout process covers around about 4 years. It was a worldwide project, a worldwide rollout. We started with the smaller assemblies, we started with the components, and then we grow bigger at the end of the day to go with the new truck and the new buses related to this digital project. So over this period, we did this in a worldwide project, and after 4 years, we are ready, and everybody is using the new processes in the new PLM world. Okay. So this is our last slide. Your takeaways, the takeaways. We want that you understand why we are doing this. With only the short webinar, you can see only some sneak peeks to elements we have delivered over years. What we have identified over this period are those takeaways you have seen here. Starting top left, 23% of all variants are necessary. 70% less efforts if you establish automatically configurable 3D data for customer configuration. When you have 100% transparency, you can reduce 62% cost saving by establishing the relevant requirements. When you have 100% data availability, 30% in product development process cost saving could be established, and very dramatic, we can reduce, or we have reduced 70% time saving in product cost calculation. And top right, just to summarize again, we have for one truck more than 7 billion data points to manage, which we are able to. And with clear transparency and responsibility we have in the project management, we achieved 25% time saving. Product cost management, again, when you have it done in a real-time world, when we're able to picture a very transparent process at the very first beginning with product cost management, reduce the efforts for this process by 50%. At the end of the day, generic structures and templates for standardization leads to 66% of cost reduction. So these are the key KPIs we achieved in this project. And to summarize it with one sentence, we have this blue box. The new introduced product model is the representation of all relevant business objects and information in a consistent and IT-supported structure, which is the central data backbone throughout the product development process and the complete product lifecycle. So it was just a sprint over this very long-term project, and I thank you very much for your time. And I guess, as Craig announced, now could be time for some questions in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you, Paul, for sharing this high-value project for one of our clients. If you have any questions, if you can unmute yourself, fine. You're happy, you can raise your hand or ask a question or enter it in chat at this time, and we'll be happy to answer that or follow up with you directly. Would like to note that the PDF will be available for this. The PDF of this presentation will be available for you if you're interested. I think that it's clear that electrification, digitalization, and complexity are disrupting the truck manufacturing industry, and strategic realignment of product development is a big part of how to optimize and create a sustainable business moving forward. and mastery of increasing complexity because of all the variants is going to be critical to be able to increase the efficiency and consistency that I think all of us are looking for. So again, thanks again to Michael and Paul. We are at time now. We'll have this recorded and available as well as the PDF. Thank you for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.
I think Mr. Sattelberger, you raised your hand. If you have a question, please just write it down in the chat and we are more than happy to answer this.
I actually do have the question, if he's still on in there. So it says, can this be applied to other industries?
Of course, Michael here. We did this already for other industries. One was shipbuilding and the other one was wind turbines. So yes, of course, with the specific elements of the other industries, but the generic project, the generic approach, 75–80% of this could be transferred to other industries.
Thank you, Michael. Please, we'll continue to stay on for a few more minutes. For those that have any additional questions, you can enter them in questions as well, and we'll get to those. And if we don't, we'll also follow up directly with the answers.
So the next question, Craig, I could not answer this. How to get access to the recording?
Yes, we will for all the attendees. We will, thank you for that, Michael. We will share out access to the recording as well as the PDF. Okay, well, I believe that is all the questions at this time. Again, you have the emails here directly for Paul and Michael. So feel free to reach out to them directly. We'll also follow up with the information so you can review at your convenience and respond back with any additional information or comments that you have. Thank you all again for your time and enjoy the rest of your day.